Oh, God. Hold up. Oh, shit. Oh.
So today's job, a little bit later on, we're heading off in that, back down to West Wales, not South Wales, I've been told. West Wales in the van. The problem is we've got the storage unit down there. This is my garage, which isn't a real mess. There's an existing project that's nearly done. That's my Yamaha XS1100, 1978, that's nearly rebuilt. I just got the cams and everything to put back in there. But what I'm after, we're a mess in here because I'm trying to get all the stuff off here because I want this shelving unit. This shelving unit's going into the van somehow, maybe up on the roof rack up there, and it's going back down to West Wales. So a bit of a project getting that stuff out of here without wrecking the garage even more than it already is. And it is. The good news is I've managed to clear that. We'll try and get that disassembled and into the van. The bad news is I keep finding stuff that I think I need nearer the boat. So the more I forage through this garage, the more junk I end up collecting to go in the van and down at the unit. Anyway, it's all part of the fun. Let's get this disassembled and see if we can get it in the van somehow, maybe on the roof rack. Made a slight mistake. I forgot the edge of the shelving unit that's gone. Actually the leg to this workbench as well. Right, so we're making more mess. I'm looking forward to when it's ready to move all that lot aboard the boat. That's my sea fishing gear. Look forward to that day very much. Right, what a mess. Oh well, I'll leave that for another day. Managed to get everything in. That's kind of cool. All right, it's all gone in there. The door does shut. Well and truly loaded up. Stuff back to the storage container back in West Wales. Welcome to Wales. So we're off on another road trip. I'm going with Dad 2. His replacement for Dad 1. When Mum chose him though, I don't think she had her glasses because he's a bit smaller than we expected. Road trip. You see there with the shelving up, that's everything from the boat. That's everything that we kept because we did bin a lot of it, and the van's just got tools now. I don't leave the tools on the boat or in the unit. I keep them in the van because I've got projects at home. Back on the boat for another rainy, cloudy West Wales weekend. Well, long weekend. So while I'm here, I've got a couple of jobs that I needed to do. First thing is I need to try and sort out that DC electrical system that I showed you last time. You might not think it's a priority, but I wanted to get the DC electrical system working so that I can attempt to turn over the engines. That's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to do is get down into that bilge again below the galley to try and sort out the rest of that floor. And a few of you have been messaging me saying, look, Sean, why don't you rip out those old stainless steel tanks and fit them with new plastic ones? Well, the answer to that is because I never thought of it. And I think it's a fantastic idea. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm hoping it's not too flickery because I've got the LED light again, but we've kind of figured out this system. Now, that's a battery isolator. Can't quite figure out what that's about because only one side of the isolator's been connected. Unless it's something I don't know, the whole idea is this isolates two circuits and there's only one circuit connected. This seems like a little bit of a waste of time here. This was the DC to DC converter, and what it did, this connection here, this common connection, that takes 24 volts, and that 24 volts comes from the distribution panel, which is up here. And in here, one of these 24 volt breakers switches power down to here. And that 24 volts then goes through this battery isolator, and I don't know why, goes into that DC to DC converter and converts the 24 volts to 12 volts. And that 12 volts feeds the 12 volt system, and it goes back up, back to the breakers, and it feeds these 12 volt breakers. So the green here is 12 volts and the orange is a 24 volt system. Two isolators, that one's for the 24 volt, the red one's for the 12 volt system. So that's basically what happens. And I think there's some other takeoffs as well. It might go to the battery, to the genset. There is a genset on board, and there's a 12 volt battery with it, and I'm wondering whether part of that is part of the charging. So what we've got to do is we've got to replace that 12 volt to 24 volt DC converter. However, we're going to do something different. Morning everybody, we're back on the boat. Well, there's two things that never ceases to amaze me. Now, the first thing is just how mean some people can be, but I'm not particularly worried about those people. But the second thing is just how generous some people can be. I never ceases to amaze me, and I'm absolutely blown away at the moment. You remember this? This is the DC to DC converter. It converts 24 volts from the 24 volt system, because that's what we've got on the boat, to 12 volt for all the 12 volt electronics, mainly to do with the navigation, the engine management system and things like that. So that exploded. You remember the big hole? The exploded electrolytic capacitor? Well, I reached out asking for some advice, and I got a lot of advice, and I really wanted to thank you for that. I mean, advice is generosity in itself, and I do appreciate all the advice that we've been given. Some's better than others, but all advice is very, very welcome. But I'm particularly blown away by this generosity. This came from Graham. Graham, thank you. Graham sent this as a replacement for our 24 to 12 volt DC converter. So look, I wanted to say, Graham, from the bottom of my heart, honest to God, I thank you very, very much. This is going to be very welcome. When we do eventually get some Sharpies, we'll stick your name on that. We'll put thank you, Graham, on it, okay? Because I'm really, really chuffed. It does mean, though, I've got to upgrade the system, because the old one was 25 amps, and it actually came through a 10 amp accessory breaker on the 24 volt system. 10 amps, 24 volts is roughly 20 amps, 12 volts. You take away some inefficiencies. But the actual fuse that was from the breaker, should I say, that was supplying this was a little bit underpowered in itself. But now we've got 70 amps, we don't have enough. So this is a 70 amp on the 12 volt output. That's about 35 amps on the 24 volt input. you take away some inefficiencies. It's about 92% efficient. You're up to about 38 amps. So I've got to put a 40 amp breaker on there, and we need cable rated higher than 40 amps. So I've got to kind of just upgrade that system a little bit, and we should be golden. So that's what I'm going to do now. So here we have it then. We've got the Orion. Thank you again, Graham, the 24 to 12 volt DC converter. Before that, there'll be a breaker. Okay, this is a 40 amp breaker and an isolator. So that'll be on the 24 volt side, a breaker and an isolator to provide the 24 volt. Then there'll be 12 volts coming out, and from the 12 volts we'll have a 12 volt distribution panel, and we should be able to feed the different systems from there. And of course we've got blade fuses then to be able to feed off to the electronic equipment. So that's the plan. So we've got a 24 to 12 volt 70 amp now converter, DC to DC converter, that's going to go in here. But this wasn't set up for 70 amps. The other system, it was 25 amps. 25 amps, that's 25 amps 12 volts. That's about 12.5 amps 24 volts. Take away inefficiencies, and you're probably talking about 14 or 15 amps. So I would imagine we've got a 15 amp breaker. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. It said accessories. Oh, there it is. There it is. Well, it was actually a 10 amp breaker. So we had a 10 amp breaker supplying a device that provided 25 amps, 12 volts, which is about 12.5 amps to 15 amps, 12 volts, 24 volts. So that's probably the wrong breaker, but that's a 10 amp breaker. Now, the issue is the new unit is 70 amps. 70 amps, that's 70 amps 12 volts, that's 35 amps 24 volts, and if you take away the inefficiency, this new inverter is about 92% efficient. That takes us up to around about 38 amps. So total we can, we'd be drawing 38 amps continuous. So we can't use this 10 amp breaker system. It's too small. I'm thinking about whether we can use that as a switch, but maybe not. So what I've got to do is I've got to come up to these buzz bars here. And we've got some buzz bars. The solar goes into those. That goes into the battery system. And what I was wanting to do was take out of this buzz bar a 24 volt supply on a thicker cable, and have a separate isolator switch, and then go through a breaker and go into the 12 volt 24 volt system. I'll show you what I mean. Tyre wraps. They're normally spilling out all over the place, and then when you want one, you can't find one. Where are they? Right, so we're almost there. There's the breaker. There's the isolator switch. That's the Orion, and that's the 12 volt distribution panel. I'm about to put some fuses in that, and we'll see how we go. Let's pop some fuses in. Let's put 15, start with, that's a big cable, 15 amp, 15 amp, and then that little one. If you can see me, flickering light, I'm sorry, it's the LED, 5 amp, right. Okay, let's get the cover on. Where's the cover? Okay, there it is. Red to red, black to black, plug it in the Stanwell back. So the breaker's in. Okay, ignition. Oh, I heard something clunk. And we've got power going to there. Oh, that's switched on. What have we got? Oh, let me stand up. So, electronic instruments. Brooks and Gatehouse. Electrical instruments. Sat nav. Radio cassette. RHF. Radio telephone. Autopilot. We've got power. And I heard something. Let's go and investigate. I heard something. Did I hear something from here? Oh. Channel 12. Well, it seems to be a radio. Let's just... Squelches on. Right, so that's 12. That's the lock. So look, I don't know what else is. Yeah, nothing there. That's the gen set, but I think something's unplugged on the gen set, I'll be honest with you. So we'll investigate that later. Let's go and see what else is happening.
7 Guardian Vitesse, message received, I'm using the East Channel in. 7 Guardian Vitesse, that's received. We have clearance of the East Channel in for Nayland. The Island is free, currently in the West Channel accessing.
Right, something seems, that says off, but I can see stuff. Compass, nothing happening there. That comes on. Right, I don't know what this stuff does. Average speed, let's turn it off. Ooh. Something's come on. Looks a bit... No, it's not touch screen. That doesn't look very good, does it? Oh well. Good. Right. Navigator. Ooh. Cold start, all data lost. They were installed December the 17th, 1982. Press any key to continue. Philips GPS navigator. Oh, well, that's us positioned.
NIS 3 VTS, clear the West Channel, thank you.
Found what this does. Jeez. Lock keeper's looking. I've just figured this out, so the hydraulic steering still works. Look at that. Yeah, we can go now. We don't need... It's just those holes in the hull, though. They'll not be a problem, will they? Good, that's done. 12 volts on. So 12 volt works. And so does the 24 volt. There we go, 24 volt. 24 volt system on also. So that's it. I've got that to figure out. Doesn't come on. And lots of bits, but 12 volts on now. It puts the radio on. And I'll see what else. Thank you, Graham. Awesome. That's a great system now, all working. Another day. Today I'm on my own though. Keith's had to go back. He's back home, and Rachel sadly couldn't make this trip because of a dog sitting issue, but she's going to be back soon, I promise. So I'm on my own. It's a bit of a nightmare when you're on your own, and today's job is getting down into that bilge under the galley floor again and sorting out those tanks. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, first I was trying to preserve the tanks, stainless steel, trying to work around them. And of course, I had about 20 people reach out and say, hey, Sean, just get rid of the old stainless steel tanks, put some modern plastic ones in. So I thought that was a great idea. So today, we're going to be trying to cut out the tanks, getting to the floor and having a good look at the damage in there. And then we'll plan from there just how much steel we have to cut out. But first, I've got a little issue. This is a brand new socket. I fitted this very recently, and look at that. Can't really plug in this device until the electrics are sorted. Right, let's get on with that. Live, neutral, earth, which for some reason is brown. So burning there. So this is wired up with a green live for some reason. Had to go through the earth. Right, here's a replacement. You I put the old one back on. I'm too old. I'm too old to be doing electrical work. I'm too old to be working. Let's put the power back on. Well, that's it. That's that grey water tank out. I'm going to have a break, I think. I'll show you what's down there, but I think you've seen it before. Shattered. Hard work lifting that. Getting it out on me old lonesome. Right, no water, so heading to the shower for a shower. Right, looking a little bit rough. It's about time to jump in the shower, I think. I think you've seen enough already.